Today on Hearts of Heroes.
It was of biblical proportion.
It felt like an apocalyptic movie scene.
A catastrophic flood strikes eastern Tennessee.
He's trapped. He can't get out of the house.
The water kept rising. And we watched him go under.
And later, an exclusive high-octane look at swiftwater training.
Make contact with that person, position them where you want them on your body, and then maintain contact the whole time.
That is unbelievable.
The true measure of a hero is their readiness to leap into action when it matters most. In storm zones, preparation can save lives, but even the best plans can't cover everything.
That's when it falls to fearless first responders to step in and rewrite the ending. And that's where we begin, with a story that must be told.
Washington County, Tennessee is a true sportsman's paradise, and it's the job of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency to manage the vast lakes, rivers, and backlands. In September 2024, Hurricane Helene made landfall in Florida, then screamed northeast inland toward the Blue Ridge Mountains. The heavy rain pushing eastern Tennessee and their waterways to the limit.
The hurricane made landfall and started working its way toward our area. There was nowhere for the water to go. The mountains act as a funnel.
It took only hours for the Nolichucky River to surge, transforming the landscape into a massive flood zone.
Homes were flooding, their vehicles were flooding, homes were being pushed off their foundation, just anything you can think of. The river was pushing it down the stream.
And we've never had a flood event like this. It was just of biblical proportion.
Major Shelley Hammonds of the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency immediately began mobilizing her team.
We typically are not the first line responders for a lot of disasters. However, we have boats, a lot of people trained on how to operate those boats, and we can get out there and help with those rescues.
Major Hammonds got on the radio that there were stranded people on top of the hospital.
Lieutenant Jeff Prater began making his way to the hospital when he was flagged down by a frantic person who was on the phone with a man named Brian.
They were blowing their horn, flashing their lights, and they told me that there were some people that needed to be rescued.
Brian and his two dogs were trapped inside a home in the middle of the raging flood.
He was in full panic mode. The water was continuing to rise.
Officer Justin Pinkton had launched a separate boat and met up with Prater.
I looked over, and there was a farmhouse just going very quickly down the river. I mean, this is something way more intense than what I've ever experienced.
He knew he was running out of time, and he kept calling, checking to see, are you coming?
Where are we going first?
But as they made their way toward Brian's home, they saw two other men trapped on top of a neighboring structure.
I noticed there was two guys on top of a cinder block shed. The water was starting to come through the cinder blocks on that shed. I just knew it was going to go down pretty quick because 4 feet up that shed, the bricks are starting to move.
Let's get to him first. He is more likely to not make it. Hold on.
There was a great potential that that shed was going to fail and they were going to end up in the river.
So I was like, hey, we need to get them.
Hey, Shelley, we're grabbing them. Water's coming through their building.
So we went ahead and diverted and rescued those two men on the roof first.
Y'all come on.
They hauled the men into the boat and sped them to safety.
All right, take your life jackets off, throw them back in here.
We got them off the boat and just headed straight back.
But precious minutes were lost, and now, at Brian's home, floodwaters surged higher and higher. His house was drowning, and so was his home.
Brian is screaming out for help. He's trapped, and he can't get out of the house.
Coming up, rescuers have only moments to save Brian from the unthinkable.
Now he was trapped. He couldn't move.
He's a predator.
But first, here's a tip to make sure your vital medications stay safe in any storm.
Many people depend on life-saving medications to stay healthy. But in the aftermath of a major storm, securing those prescriptions can be a challenge.
There are a few things you can do to avoid a medicine mayday. Keep your medications in a waterproof container to avoid any potential floodwater contamination. Number 2, you can keep a laminated list of your family's medications and insurance information in case anything's lost or damaged during a disaster. And number 3, if bad weather is anticipated, call your provider or pharmacy to refill your medication early.
Taking these extra steps can keep your family healthy and avoid unnecessary headaches following a disaster.
In September 2024, Hurricane Helene unleashed cataclysmic flooding in eastern Tennessee.
This is by far the worst natural disaster that I've experienced in my 22-year career with TWRA. It was like an apocalyptic movie scene.
Through the rising flood, Lieutenant Jeff Prater and Officer Justin Pinkton of the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency powered their rescue boats toward danger.
It's coming. So he needs to hurry.
It rose somewhere between 6 and 10 inches or more. It had come up really, really fast.
Their mission? Reach a man named Brian, cornered by water, clinging to safety with his 2 dogs.
Prater got into the water and he started working his way towards the sliding glass door, and everything seemed fine for the moment.
But the crushing force of the floodwaters sealed the door shut.
He was pounding on the door and he was struggling to get the door open.
Want me to go help him?
When Prater opened the sliding glass door, it kind of created a funnel for all the water to come through the house.
Easy, Prater.
The water in that room pushes everything in that room on top of Jeff.
I got throw bag ready.
I'm trying to swim, I'm trying to keep my head above water.
Prater, you good?
Once Jeff came back up, there is a large current. Water is just coming straight through that room.
Officer Prater gave Brian a life jacket and requested a throw bag.
I got one.
If for some reason he were to slip by me, he would have a hold of the rope and I could grab him and pull him up.
Major Shelley Hammonds tossed the throw bag, but it got caught in the shattered remains of the home. Yet what seemed like a disaster became a lifeline, a twist of fate that turned out to be nothing short of miraculous.
So we had a direct line from our boat inside to the house.
With a lifeline from the boat to the house secured, Brian released one of the dogs to be rescued first.
I tried my best to grab it, but it slipped by me. But I immediately swam just a couple of really quick strokes over and I was able to get a hold of it.
Prater managed to get the dog on the boat. Then he went back for the second dog.
I grabbed the dog's collar. But as soon as he let go, she slipped right out of the collar. And I swam as hard as I could. I was able to catch up to her.
At that same point, Brian started yelling he was pinned. There was no other decision. I told Shelley, like, I have to go in and get him.
Just then, the floodwaters exploded into chaos, turning Brian's struggle into a fight for his life. Pinkston pushed against the current to get to Brian.
There was a 2x4 wedge in the door, so now he was trapped. He couldn't move.
I know, I got you.
It was turned perfectly, blocking the doorway about thigh high.
Come on, I got the force.
Justin's trying to pull him. He's screaming.
Lean forward and let it take you up. Wait, push me. I can't, it's got my foot.
The only other option is me to go up underwater. So I went down and I was able to get my hands up under the 2x4. And Brian come flying out of the house right into Jeff's arms.
So I grabbed him, for dear life.
With the throw bag as their lifeline, they managed to pull Brian onto the boat.
Once we were all in the boat, there was a sense of relief for sure, but he was mentally and emotionally done.
That water was so filthy and thick, it was like driving through mud with that prop, and we limped this boat back to shore.
Luna, you're good. Everyone hold on. Luna, come on over here.
The moment that our boat touched the shore, his wife, Darlene, immediately ran up to the boat and hugged him, and they realized how close they came to losing each other.
Like you wanted to take a breath. You wanted to be like, you know, okay, we got him, this is over. But it's not over.
Coming up,
There's people trapped on a barn just up the road.
with more lives on the line, rescuers face a daunting realization.
We were like less than 50 yards from the main river.
It's probably an unsurvivable situation if you get washed into that main river channel and go over that dam.
In September 2024, eastern Tennessee was pounded by torrential rain unleashed by Hurricane Helene. With no formal water rescue training, teams from the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency charged into those floodwaters, risking everything to save lives.
Just trying to navigate floodwaters, it's very dangerous. Anything could strike you. You can be swept away at any moment.
After pulling people and dogs to safety, they learned the flood still held others captive. 15 men trapped on top of a barn just down the road.
It is a really large tomato farm. It looked like 5 to 10 foot swells out there.
Without hesitation, Public Information Officer Matt Cameron volunteered to assist Officer Pinkston with the next rescue.
We take off across a flooded tomato field.
There's about 15 people on top of this barn, and the water was rising up it.
But before they could make it to the barn, they saw 2 men hanging on a tree.
We decided that they were the most critical people to rescue at that moment.
The 2 men in a tree was probably the scariest rescue you could make. If that tree had gave way, it would have come right into the boat.
We pull in underneath this tree, and they knew we were there to help, so they just instinctively got into the boat with us.
And as we were backing up, I lost all power in the boat. A limb stuck between the lower unit and my prop and killed the boat. So I told Matt to hold on to whatever he could. I was able to get that log out and get the boat started back.
There's so much silt in the water, I'm struggling to get.
On the way back, the motor started overheating and the boat died.
That was kind of a critical moment during this rescue, because if we were going to get washed out into that main channel, we would put these men in a worse situation than they were in to begin with. We got the engine going again, and we were able to make way back over to the shoreline and drop these 2 individuals off.
Thank you.
Keenly aware that people were still stranded on the barn roof, rescuers prepared to head back out, even as fear crept in that their failing motor might die again.
It's sucking up so much silt that it can't cool. That beeping's overheating. I don't know, I'm scared. I'm gonna go.
Still, the officers made the decision to head back out and risk it all to reach the men that were trapped on the farm.
I was like, Matt, I'm going back. And he's like, I'm going with you.
We head out, we make a second rescue attempt.
Maneuvered around some buildings and stuff.
I can go between them shipping containers. Right here? Yeah. Nada.
Pulled up to the building, we was able to get 3 people off of it.
Hey, Trace. Life jacket. Right here.
Climb off of the barn roof. We start to make way back over to the shoreline.
We take off and we're running 50% of what the boat would normally do, and it dies for a second time. We were like less than 50 yards from the main river.
It's probably an unsurvivable situation if you get washed into that main river channel and go over that dam. We got the boat running again, and we get these 3 men back to safety.
But the officers knew that attempting a 3rd rescue would put everyone's lives in danger.
I was like, we can't go back again, Matt. The boat ain't gonna keep running if we go back one more time.
We decided that we were kind of tempting fate. If we kept going back and forth, that we were probably gonna end up putting these people in a worse situation than they were already in.
It's so disheartening to not be able to keep helping.
Just see people and know that I can't help them, that I'm helpless, it is a horrible feeling.
Just when hope seemed lost, the tide turned in the thunder of rotor blades from a Tennessee Highway Patrol helicopter.
Out of nowhere, look upstream, and here comes a helicopter down the river.
It was just an answered prayer.
We stood back at that point and we watched that helicopter make 5 or 6 landings on the barn roof, pick these people up and carrying them back. And it was just one of the most amazing things I think that I had ever witnessed in my life.
Once everyone was rescued, these exhausted heroes could finally breathe a well-deserved moment of relief.
All of us realized just the magnitude of what we had done and where we had been, and just like, wow, you know, wow.
We weren't trying to be heroes or anything. We just knew that there were people in trouble, and it was in our heart to go and try to help these people out.
We were able to come together and use our training that we had and make a difference that day.
Are we training swiftwater rescue? No, but we respond to these things. Man, it made me so proud to be a game warden.
Coming up,
Okay, let's roll.
we jump into a heart-pounding swiftwater training exercise.
Power, this water's unbelievable.
But first, a tip to help you avoid one of the deadliest dangers after a storm: downed power lines.
In the wake of natural disasters, we often see power lines come crashing down. Sometimes there's not enough time or resources for experts to shut down power to an area.
That's why it's critical to treat every downed power line as though it's still live. Even if it doesn't appear to be sparking or smoking, it can still carry a deadly current. And remember, electrical currents can travel through water. So if there are downed power lines in or near standing water, stay far away.
Even a small puddle or a flooded street can carry that dangerous energy, making it a serious hazard. So remember, if you see downed wires, don't test the waters.
In today's story, we saw how the power of swift water can be strong enough to rip homes from their foundation. Recently, Sheldon Yellen of our sponsor, Belfour Property Restoration, traveled to Oklahoma to witness how rescue teams train in swift water conditions to save lives.
Chief, what is so unique about this particular facility?
One thing really unique is the size of it. This facility has 2 channels, and the hydraulic features that we have here really allow us to focus on different techniques based on the different water conditions. We have 6 pumps, which together will pump over 481,000 gallons a minute. That same pump capacity can fill up the Olympic swimming pool every 60 seconds.
I understand I'm going to be rappelling today down to the water. What exactly do you have in store for me today?
The rappel today is something that we're all trained to do. Every swiftwater technician has to start with a basis of rope rescue. We will have you rappel from the bridge to the water's edge, victim recovery from the water.
All right, I think I'm ready to give this thing a try. Excited? I don't know, but let's do it.
Okay, hook them up.
Okay, let's roll. As I'm being lowered from this bridge, I can feel the force of the rapids waiting below. The water is relentless. That's why the tether is so critical. It's not just support, it's survival. Every rope and knot has to be trusted. Because in swift water, there are no second chances.
Pull hard, pull hard.
Once I hit the rapids, it takes every ounce of strength just to fight my way toward the victim. The water is brutal.
We will have a safety rope on your back. You will then swim into an eddy.
Keep going, you're there.
All of this is done in a scenario whereby we can't get to the area that we need to deploy, so we have to deploy somewhat distant from that area off of the rope.
Pull hard, pull hard, pull hard. Now you're in the eddy, you're good now.
And what do I do once I get to the victim?
Be very assertive. Voice goes a long way in these situations. Catch your victim, be confident and calm. Tell them that you've got them, position them where you want them on your body, maintain contact the whole time. And then bring your victim over to the side.
The power of this water is unbelievable. It takes everything you've got in order to grab the victim, hold on to him, and get him across the current back to safety. It's unbelievable.
My firsthand experience proved one thing. Against the power of water, only training, instinct, and pure courage prevail. And that's what rescuers rely on to save lives each and every day. Disasters can strike without warning. And as you've just seen, help is always within reach.
First responders are always on the ready, prepared for the worst, so we can hope for the best. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you next time on Hearts of Heroes.